Hello everyone, I'm Raghav and this is my Unity Advanced Self-From 4 Mat-1, and today I'm going to explain the following three questions. Question first is, explain the dependency injection in context to game development and how can dependency injection improve maintainability and modularity and maintainability of the code. Question second is, can you describe the scenario where dependency injection would be more beneficial than traditional approaches for handling dependencies in the game project? And third is, explain the concept of inversion of control and relationship to dependency injection. So coming to the first part of the first question, explain dependency injection in context to game development. So before understanding the dependency injection, let us understand what exactly is a dependency. So if a class A requires instance of another class B to execute its core logical functionalities, then we can say that there is a dependency of class B in class A. Now, what exactly is dependency injection? So, dependency injection is a creational design pattern that helps us to write decoupled code. So, dependency injection is all about shifting the responsibility of creating and providing dependencies from within a class to an external source. Rather than having a class to create its own dependencies, it receives the dependencies from outside. So we can take an example like let's say we are building a simple game where we have a character class that depends on a weapon class. So we can create interface that defines weapon behavior like iWeapon. Okay, so after that we will design the character class to accept different weapon implementations through constructor injection. Now in the main program we will create instances of the weapon and character with a selected weapon. So the character can attack using the injected weapon. Now coming to the second part of the first question, how can dependency injection improve modularity and maintainability of the game code? So dependency injection can improve the modularity by decoupling the components, making it easier to replace or update the individual part of the game without affecting the entire system. So each game object or system can focus on specific responsibilities without tightly coupling with other objects. Now, dependency injection also improves maintainability by reducing the interdependencies between the components. This enables this makes it easier to understand and modify individual parts of the code without affecting the entire code base. Changes to a specific system or game object don't necessarily require modification to the unrelated parts of the code base. So second question is, can you describe the scenario where dependency injection would be more beneficial than traditional approaches for handling dependencies in the game project? So we can say that let's imagine a scenario where we are working on a complex game project with multiple systems and classes that interact with each other. These systems include player input, rendering, audio, physics, game logic, etc. So traditionally, we might handle the dependencies by directly instantiating the required classes within each system. This will create a tightly coupling between them. However, this approach can lead to several issues. Like if we directly instantiate dependencies within each class, making the changes to one system may require modification to multiple places as well. So this can lead to rigid and tightly coupled architecture, making the code base difficult to maintain. On the other would be that testing difficulties, like unit testing becomes more challenging when classes are tightly coupled. So it's difficult to isolate and test individual component without bringing all their dependencies. This can hinder the effectiveness of the unit test, and it makes harder to identify and fix bugs. But in case of dependency injection promotes loosely coupling between injected dependencies from outside. Instead of instantiating dependencies within a class, you can inject them through a constructor injection or a property injection. This reduces the direct dependencies between classes and allows for more flexibility. You can configure and provide dependencies at higher level, making it easier to manage and reuse the components. For example, you can have a centralized configuration for a container that manages creation of injection of dependencies. So with dependency injection, it becomes easier to replace the actual implementation with test tables in unit testing. This facilitates more effective unit testing, as you can isolate the components and verify their behaviors in isolation as well. So as your game project evolve, dependency injection makes it easier to extend and modify the system. You can introduce new components or replace the existing ones without having to modify a large portion of your code base. So coming to the third question, explain the concept of inversion of control and its relationship with the dependency injection. So inversion of control is a design principle in software development where control flow of a program is inverted or shifted from application code to a container or a framework. In traditional programming, the flow of control is determined by the application code which calls the libraries or frameworks. Uh, with inversion of control, the control flow is inverted, and framework or container manages the flow of control by invoking the appropriate methods or functions in the application code. Dependency injection is a specific technique that implements the inversion of control principle. In dependency injection, instead of a component creating or managing its dependencies, the dependencies are injected into the component from external source. This external source is typically an IOC container or a framework responsible for managing the dependencies and their life cycles as well. So that's all for this video. Thank you so much.